So I'd love to share with you what I share with a recent student of mine, John. We spoke about his driver and specifically his driver setup and how your loft sleeve can have a dramatic difference on your ball flight, giving more distance, more consistency. But before we even entered that conversation, we just sorted out what I would call his foundations to his engine. Think about it, your body is your engine. If this is set up slightly wrong, you could have the perfect swing and it go completely wrong. So I'm going to share with you exactly what we did in this lesson. But before we get into this, if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing, and I can't wait to help you improve your golf. And John actually improved tremendously with his consistency with driver, and the loft sleeve was an instant change. But let's firstly go to those foundations, this starting point of the swing, to make sure the engine's firing up correctly. Now, I've got on the floor here a semicircle. We're all told to address the golf ball in our left heel or around about our left heel. And to be fair, recently I've been around a club head in. But let me just paint a full picture on where John was going wrong with this. And this is how I showed him. If we place that ball in the middle of our stance as our starting point, you can see there, right in the middle of our stance, I want to show you here and highlight the significance on ball position on affecting the direction of our swing, because it's probably a lot more than you think. So if we address the golf ball in the middle of our stance, look how my shoulders are simply just parallel to this white line, okay? Exactly where we're aiming. It sounds simple, right? But so many golfers of different levels, and I'm going from new to even very experienced single figure handicap golfers, are just not aware of this because we get lazy, and that's bad for your golf. So if I now address a golf ball at this white tee peg, I want you to have a look at what that does to my shoulders. They point what we would call very closed and very much to the right, helping create a very and too much of an in to out swing. Now, where John was going wrong, he was addressing the golf ball on his front heel, so where this blue or where this white tee peg is, but his shoulders were massively affected. Now, he had a massive slice, and this was just making that so much worse. Look at your shoulders. If I just swing now down my shoulder line, can you see how they're pointing to the left? So my engine now is pointing to the left. So all the ideas he had on the downswing about hitting from the inside, he was never able to access. They were just making his swing not so bad. But this is where it got exciting. I said to him, okay, so if we know that moving our ball forward in our stance affects our shoulders and affects the direction of our swing, do we now have to think about it as a little bit of a compensation to stop them pointing left? Well, yes, that is the exact answer. So all I want you to think about here is as our ball moves forward in our stance, so we'll keep this in the middle to start with, as our ball moves forward in our stance to this tee peg here, we have to tuck that trail shoulder in. Now be careful, I'm not asking you to do this. I'm not asking you to hang back. I'm asking you to feel as though you're tucking that in. So you'll also notice the impact that has on my right elbow. It gets a little more tucked into the body. But now if I swing, where am I swinging? Straight to target. So my ideas of swinging into out, I'm able to access. Now that was super exciting for John because straight away he went into hitting straight ball flights. Now let's get into this loft sleeve. I showed him this little thing, what I call a cheat sheet that we could go to even when he's practicing on his own, because unfortunately I can't be on his shoulder every single minute of his practice like I can't be with you. But I'm going to show you a cheat sheet here that will help you improve your ball flight tremendously. Now, John was a little more on the senior side, so his slice was weak and it was low. Now, as you've seen right here, I have a Callaway driver, but this wouldn't matter what driver you have. They all have loft sleeve settings. Now, what I want you to experiment with, if you're a slicer, okay, I would all look at straight away making your driver a little more upright, okay? So you have different settings on here. Now, what I would say here is, for Callaway, you'd be looking at draw. Now, what I also did with John was, I made his set to draw and +1. Other brands will have things called upright. That essentially makes it more draw bias and the face point a little more left, all helping you not leave the face as open. So let me explain this. Let me put this down for you. If we look at it here, if we add loft to a driver, it simply does this. Now it's not to that extent, but it's a little bit more. So it's less likely to point to the right. If we make it more upright, that would get the toe, if this is our flat line, to sit more in the air. Again, helping close this face, helping launch it a little left. Perfect for a golfer that struggles missing it off to the right. So simply, we said to John, let's get it sitting more upright, let's add a degree of loft, and let's enjoy all the benefits from that little check to our foundations and that little bit of an improvement to this. So I also explained to John that every golfer is capable of going from one extreme to the other. So I had to show him about the loft adjustment and what you would make. Now, I also see thousands of questions from all you subscribers. Now, if you're thinking, Alex, how can I get involved? As long as you subscribe, turn on the bell, pop your comment down below. I'd love to help you play better golf this year. I'll pick it out and it could feature on my next video. Now, we then said, okay, if we do start hooking it, which it does happen to all golfers, go from one extreme to the other, we would firstly look at this draw setting on the driver. Let me do this a little more. So we would go, okay, let's go back to where we were. So we were here. We were in draw setting, making it a little more upright, and we added loft. The first thing on this Callaway sleeve, I'd make it neutral, not as upright, but still adding loft. I would then, if he carried on hooking it, I would go to neutral and neutral, standard and neutral, okay? Simply, when you take loft off a driver, it slightly opens the face. Now, it's only tiny, but these little adjustments make a huge difference. The tech in the driver is there to help you, so use it. And on the side of the screen here, I'll put what I call the cheat sheet, so you can save this video, always come back to it when you're on the range and your ball flight's going a little bit iffy. Think, my foundations. Then go into, is my driver actually finely tuned enough for me? Let's put this one away. So look, I'd get my ball position. That's how naturally I want to sit now. So my engine's fired this way. Hook it in, I'm ready to go. Oh, and that's what John did. And John actually needed a seat afterwards because he couldn't believe that he was capable of drives like that. Thanks so much for watching. I do hope this is really going to improve your golf this year, and we bring simple golf tips to you every single week. So be sure to join the channel and this family here on Alex Elliott Golf.